Right, hello there ladies and gents, and welcome to another PS4 video we've got for you again today. And today we are sticking with the White Light of Death theme, and this particular machine is slightly different from the others. So let's have a look. So it's all plugged in, HDMI is in the back of our monitor over there. So going to turn it on, and of course we get the usual blue light. Still got no signal on the display. So as you can see there, we have a nice shiny white light there and no signal on the display. So I'm just going to turn this off. So as we can see, our PS4 is indeed starting up to the OS, as we would expect. So basically that was sat in the dashboard, although we couldn't see it. So we're going to see if we can get this into safe mode, see if it'll go in at its lower resolution. So in order to get in safe mode, of course, we press and hold for 7 seconds. We should hear a second beep, and then we can release our finger. And that should force the machine to boot down into safe mode, and as you can see, it boots up a hell of a lot quicker this time, but we still get no signal on the display. So 95% of the time-ish, your issue is going to be down to a faulty HDMI port. In this instance, we're just going to unplug the HDMI and the power lead is a bit stiff, especially when I'm trying to do it with one hand, because my battery on the old Lumix that I'm using to film these at the moment, I know, but needs must and all that at the moment is not the best, so where possible I'm sort of having to use my mobile phone camera. But yeah, as you can see, we don't have any warranty seals on this one, so it has been previously opened. I'm not entirely sure what anybody's done with it, but the HDMI port is all intact and it looks rather nice and clean and shiny. All the pins are present and correct on the top and the bottom of the comb. So I think, certainly from an outside perspective, the HDMI port looks good. So we are going to crack this open and we'll take a look inside and see if we can get any further clues as to where our issue might lie. So if you bear with me a second, guys, we'll have this board out and we'll have a closer look. Just to confirm though, I mean, this is a CUH 1116A. So this is one of the later revisions, so it's probably got an SAB001 motherboard in it. So yeah, we will get this out and we'll take a look in a sec, and hopefully we'll be able to spot where our issue is. Right, okay, so we have our mainboard out of our PS4, and of course when you disassemble the unit, from the top side, of course this side is the side facing upwards. And as soon as we removed the sort of upper half of the matte shell casing, this lovely HDMI port solder job was sat staring me in the face, which would suggest that somebody has made a rather ham-fisted effort at trying to replace this HDMI port. As you can see, there's flux all over it, and the solder job on the ground pins is, quite frankly, awful. I don't know if you'll be able to see, I think you can actually, just about make out on the left side of that port, around the solder joints there's like some crusty yellow, whitish sort of crust, if you like, which I presume is flux residue, but it's from no flux that I'm ever aware of. Like I say, it's not like I don't know, it's almost like corrosion of the joint in a way. But anyway, your ground connection doesn't really matter as such as long as it's got one. And it's solid enough. But if we look at the back of the port, you can see there on the right hand side there's a couple of pins that are bridged. The third and fourth in from the right are bridged. The third one in from the right is actually lifted from the board. The others are sort of straight enough, but again, similar to the bottom side, I don't know what they've used to flux it with, but it just looks generally a little bit manky really. So all we're going to do is we are going to sort of clean this up. So we're going to give it a clean with some alcohol first off, to try and get rid of the contaminants. Then we're going to run some flux over and some nice clean leaded solder, and we're going to tidy up the job in general really, and hopefully that's going to be enough to get our PS4 5ing again. So if you join us back here in a second, guys, we'll have you on the tripod, and we'll see if we can get this working again. So the port itself should be salvageable. They've got it a little bit hot, the plastic sort of retaining comb there at the bottom of the pins. Does have a tiny little bit of heat damage on the left hand side, but not anywhere near enough to cause us any problems. At least that'll warrant replacing the port, so the port should be fine. We just need to clean this soldering job up. So as I say, join us in a sec, guys, and we'll get that done. Okay, so that is our ground pins on our HDMI port, looking a whole hell of a lot nicer than they were 10 minutes ago. So as you can see there now, nice and clean and shiny. Haven't got too much solder there, that's lovely. And if we also look top side now, you'll be able to see that the solder has filled the hole and is now up to the flush with the level of the board, nicely around those ground pins now. Those weren't actually full of solder, all the solder was on the clumped on the bottom side. It hadn't actually gone down the hole to secure the port properly, so it would have been a little bit weak before. So that's all looking really rather nice again now, so that's one job done. Next job is to actually go down the back of these HDMI pins. So again, we've got a similar sort of issue as we had before, whereby it all just looks a bit dirty behind there. It don't look particularly nice. Okay, so as before, we're going to add a drop of flux to our pins at the rear of this HDMI port. And we're going to add quite a bit, because it does help. And as I say, we're just going to end up cleaning off any excess anyway, so don't be too shy with it. Change the tip over on our iron again. To a nice fine tip. There's that. The beep tells us we're ready to go. Going to swing our fume extraction back over now. Clean and tin the end of the iron. Now, the first thing we're going to do is actually try and remove this short. Now then, interestingly enough, We'll have a closer look at this in a minute because of the light over this port at the moment. I can't really see, but it looks like we might have a leg missing off this HDMI port. What I think somebody might have tried to do here is it looks like, and I don't know till we clean it off and have a good look behind this, but it looks as though somebody might have broken the leg off this HDMI port. And then actually tried to bridge between the pad and the sort of partial bit of leg that's left, and just ended up making a right hash of it. So we'll find out in a sec, or whether it's just a build-up of flux and SS crap that was on that pin that was sort of hiding it from view. Because as I say, the lighting isn't particularly brilliant. I'm just going to have a quick look at this out of the view of the camera at the moment. We have a missing leg. That's not going to help. So yes, it looks like our suspicions are being confirmed. I'll see if I can get you off the tripod for a look at this. But it looks like somebody, rather than replacing the port, having broken the leg off it, has just tried to bridge the point between the leg and the board and just bridged it all. And so you can see there, second pin in from the right is actually missing. So we are going to have to replace this port. So just bear with me in a second, guys, and we'll get this port off. Right then, okay, so as we said, it looks like we've got a missing pin off the bottom of this HDMI port, which was rather cunningly hidden by whoever had tried to correct their mistake by trying to bridge the pin and making a royal mess of it. So what we are going to do, we're going to get our air station using a fairly big tip. So this is the biggest tip of the three supplied with the quick that we've got here, and we're on a temperature of 485 degrees C with an airflow of 65 litres per minute. And we're just going to start warming this board up with some fume extraction on. I'm just going to build the heat up in the board. Okay. Our port is out, and as we can see there, maybe you can see there, look, we have a missing pin there just at the top, second one in. So our next job, of course, is to get a nice new shiny port. I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. Apply a drop of flux, a little bit of leaded solder, a fume extraction back. It's looking really rather nice again. All nicely tinned up. I'm going to change the tip on our soldering iron again. I do love this soldering iron. For anybody who is wondering what it is a Jovi iSolder 40. Which of course is a cartridge type iron. And it is positively fantastic. Trying to remove all the solder from the holes, just enough to give us a little bit of space to put our new port. So if we've got a tiny little indentation in there, there we go, that should be enough. Okay, so we're just going to run and get another port, and I'll be back in a sec. We're going to get our port. In these grips. Now then, we've added a little bit of flux to the board where the port is going to sit. First things first, of course, we're going to get our air tool. Again, sets 485 at 65 litres per minute of airflow. I'm just going to start to warm the general area where our port is going to sit. I'm going to offer the port up. Okay, so that's our port in position. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to walk back across each pin of the port with our soldering iron, just to make sure it's firmly attached to the board. And we're going to clean it up, we'll have a look, and then we'll fire it up, and hopefully we've got a working PlayStation. Right, okay, so we have our PS4 just here. We're just going to turn it on. Of course, plugged in the HDMI and power, and partially reassembled. So, blue light. And display that. And as you can see, still got a blue light there for the time being. White light now. And as you can see there now, mind the sunlight peering over the monitor there, just putting that little line down the picture, but that's not on the screen itself, that's just how the camera catches the light through the window there. But as you can see now, that is all back up and running very nicely. So I'm just going to plug our USB port into our controller, and we're just going to run through this initial setup. Put the date and time in. I can never remember which way around the dates go on these things. Today's the 22nd of October 2015. And there we go. So that is another PlayStation that we've got fixed up and are ready to fight again. So as we saw, we had some issues with the HDMI port. It looks like it's been attempted to be replaced previously, albeit badly, by its previous owner. Okay, who it would appear lost a pin during the replacement procedure, and rather than sort of like replacing the port again, decided to try and salvage their effort by linking the stub end of the pin to the pad with a bit of solder, but obviously didn't succeed. We're not in the business of trying to bodge things, we are in the business of trying to fix them. So of course, rather than trying to run link wires or anything of that nature, which of course would have got you up and running there, push comes to shove, we're not doing anything like that. We're just going to replace the port, which is exactly what we've done. And we are all done and dusted, as you can see. So I'm just going to power this off now, and this is ready to be fully reassembled and to go back to its rightful place. So I will see you on the next vid, guys. We have one coming up with some drop damage to have a look at, so that is a blue light of death. So join me then. Until then, guys, I will see you later, and remember, play safe out there. Cheers now, bye bye.